The British Isles are packed with incredible history, castles, and coastal towns, and a British Isles cruise is one of the easiest ways to see it all without constantly packing and unpacking. We're breaking down 11 must-see British Isles cruise ports, such as Belfast and Edinburgh, on our 14-day itinerary, with our best tips to save money and make the most of your time in each port. But there's a little-known ETA Visa requirement that could keep you from getting on the ship at all. Stay to this end of this video where we'll talk about who needs it, how to get it, and how to avoid a little-known gotcha.
Hi y'all, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Becky.
And together we're cruising a good time. In this video, we're going to tell you all about our British Islands cruise and what is important with that. We're going to get into some of the ports we went to, such as Edinburgh, Belfast, Dublin, Cork, and we'll get into what ports are important for shore excursions and which ones you can save a little bit of money by just doing your own exploration right there in the port. We'll tell you how to prepare for it. And at the end of the video, we'll tell you about the new British ETA, who needs that, how that works, and then maybe a gotcha that you need to watch out for with that.
So these are just amazing ports. These are things where you can walk down historic cities and see this unique architecture. You can enjoy amazing food and whiskeys, or get away from the cities and just see like these windswept moors and cliffs and wildlife and, you know, that beautiful ocean. We plan to do all of the above. And of course, if you love castles, this is the cruise for you.
Absolutely.
And in our trip, we wove together all of these elements to just have an amazing experience.
The first and most important thing is to pick the right British Isles cruise for you. There are several cruise lines that sail the British Isles, and there's just a ton of different itineraries. Look at the itinerary that has the most number of ports that you really want to go see. That was what was most important for us, was what ports we want to see on this itinerary. We found one with Holland America that maximized that. There's a couple in there we didn't get to see. We'll catch those on the next British Isles cruise for sure. And then look at the time in port. It's real important to have enough time in port to do all the things you want to do. In summertime in the British Isles, especially in Scotland, the days are long. You can get a lot of stuff in with those long days. So look at that. Here's a map of the cruise we went to through Holland America. It started in Rotterdam, then it went to Edinburgh, Kirkwall, Lerwick, Stornoway, Belfast, Glasgow, Dublin, the Isle of Man, Cork, Dover, and then back into Rotterdam.
We will be publishing other videos on the British Isles. So subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the information. This cruise offered us choices of starting from either Dover or Rotterdam. And we selected Rotterdam. It saved us some money. It was easy to fly into Amsterdam, take a train over to Rotterdam. We really enjoyed Rotterdam, spending the night there, walking along the canals. Beautiful, beautiful city. We have a video on that if you'd like more details about Rotterdam and its old world charm.
The next stop was Edinburgh. Edinburgh is a tender port for the vast majority of cruise ships. Only the small exploration type vessels can get down into and dock alongside at Edinburgh. Most cruise ships are going to be going to a city called South Queensferry, which is just right outside of town on Edinburgh. And it's really by a very unique bridge right there, a very world famous bridge going back to the 19th century as well, from an engineering standpoint.
So the cruise ships are going to ask for a lot of money to get you into the city, and then you will have a limited amount of time. We found the best way to get into Edinburgh is just walk off the ship. There is a bus waiting there. They can take your money from your credit cards there, and you can board the bus. There they will drop you off very close to the great sights. You're going to walk up the giant hill, up onto the Royal Mile, where there's all these fabulous things to see, including Edinburgh Castle.
Yeah, there's so much to do right there on the Royal Mile. There's, you know, shops for Harris Tweed or shops for Scotch whiskey. I got a kick out of going right off of the Royal Mile at Victoria Street, which was supposedly the inspiration for the Harry Potter Street Diagon Alley in there. And it was a lot of fun just kind of walk around and take in that atmosphere too.
Boy, it is truly magical. One important tip we have is if you want to go in Edinburgh Castle, be sure to buy your tickets ahead of time. You will not be able to purchase them, you know, at the day. They will be all sold out. And I recommend doing that instead of just buying a tour that takes you over there and then you have limited time in the city. Boy, there is so much more that we want to say about Edinburgh that we are going to be issuing a new video just on it here in the next few weeks. For your convenience, we've made a list of shore excursions through Viator. And in transparency, we'll get a small amount of money if you utilize it. However, it doesn't change the price of your cost. But do whatever works for you. Check your times that you're in port and select the best thing. Our next stop was Kirkwall, Scotland. It is the largest town in the Orkney Islands. You can take a shuttle into town and just explore all the charm by walking around. You could decide to go see those Neolithic sites that are fabulous here. Things like Ringabrodgar or Skara Brae. If I were going to see those things, I would either take a tour or rent a car.
For us that day, it was all about going to try some Scotch whiskey. Highland Park is distilled right there on Orkney Islands. It's one of our favorites, so we booked a tasting and tour directly through Highland Park on their website with that. Unfortunately, Kirkwall was canceled for us due to a storm in the North Sea, and it happens pretty typically with North Sea weather. It can be kind of rough. So we didn't get to go to that, and we found out the hard way that the 24-hour cancellation did hold it full force with the distillery. We'd still book it again because it's nobody's fault that the storm came up.
The silver lining on this is that when we lost this port, the captain then took us into Invergordon. And Invergordon is the gateway to the Loch Ness. So we took a shore excursion where we bussed over to the Loch Ness, got on a boat, did a little cruise along Loch Ness. It was quite beautiful. Unfortunately, we did not get to see old Nessie.
No, she didn't make an appearance for us, but it was still a lot of fun. The lake was beautiful. The boat ride was a lot of fun. And the castle we went down, we looked at some old castles from the water. That was a lot of fun as well. I enjoyed the ride back through Inverness and over to Invergordon as well. It's right there by the Speyside River, so if you're just like Scotch whiskies, there's also a lot of distilleries right there in that area you can take advantage of as well. The next stop was Lerwick in the Shetland Islands. Shetland Islands are the furthest northern part of Scotland, so it's kind of neat to go over and do that. It's a little bit off the beaten path, to be sure. Lerwick is a very small town, and it's a tender port where you'll come right in there. You're right there in the middle of downtown Lerwick. You can walk the whole thing over in less than an hour probably. There's a really cool fort right there called Fort Charlotte that was actually active as late as World War II. And it's fun to just kind of walk around, check out those old, I like seeing the old forts. But it's a pretty neat town to see.
But what's really great is to get away from the city. Boy, we took an excursion took us to the northernmost part of the island. And boy, you get to see all these moors and peat and Shetland ponies and sheep and beautiful cliffs with the ocean just breaking on the rocks below. Truly gorgeous.
It was really a spectacular drive on there. I've seen all of Scotland like that. And I got to tell you, we had a little joke going between Becky and I because I think we're the only two on the entire tour bus that hadn't seen the TV show Shetland because people were pointing out, oh, there's a police station. There's that. They recognized all the buildings from the police station or from the TV show, which we have now since watched a few episodes of.
But truly, it is a spectacularly beautiful port, and we really enjoyed the day. Our next stop was Stornoway, Isle of Lewis. And boy, they're famous for their Harris Tweed there. So Harris Tweed has like trademark, and here it's a very, very special wool products. Now here's a very, very important tip, that although this is where they're famous for making it, I found a larger selection and more sizes when we were in Edinburgh. Yep. But this is like really fabulous. So you've got to check out Harris Tweed while you're in Scotland. Now, for this city, it was easy to walk or take a shuttle into town, and there wasn't a whole lot to do. But then we took a shore excursion that blew my socks off.
On the shore excursion, we saw the Callanish Standing Stones, the Carloway Broch, and in Gerrananan, there's a little rebuilt settlement there that had the black houses.
Learning more about Scottish history and seeing those black houses was really amazing. We learned so much about how peat was so important to the economy and to all the people in Scotland. And when we were in the black houses, they had some peat burning on one of the hearths. And I have to say, that was just incredible. I couldn't get over how silky smooth it smelled and how much it made you feel just warm inside. It reminded me as if we had chocolate chip cookies baking. Yeah, we thought this was one of the surprise ports that we didn't know what to expect, and we were had such a great day. Our next stop was Belfast, Northern Ireland, and this is one of those ports you want a lot of time in. There is such an incredible amount to see and do. There's so much that we will make a separate video on it. However, let's talk about some of those highlights. So we believe make one big activity and then also go downtown and check out the culture and walk around, go to one of those fabulous bars, etc. There is just incredible. So for Belfast, on the big activity you're going to do, many people select to go to the Titanic Museum. This is one of the best, if not the best, Titanic Museum in the world. And they are very proud of it in this city. So that's a great excursion. Many people choose to take a black taxi. This is an incredible ride. The driver takes you around, shows you historic things, and talks to you about the political culture in the country, and especially the Troubles.
We did the Giant's Causeway, which is a geological formation right there on the northern coast of Ireland. A lot of fun right there. You can go climb on the rocks. They have some exhibitions about how they're made and all that, and the story about how it became Giant's Causeway. We're not going to get into that in this video because we'll talk about that in our other video.
The tour dropped us off at the ship, and then we got onto a taxi. And of course, these taxi drivers still wanted to ask political questions and discuss politics. We got our ride where they dropped us off in the center of town. We did our own fabulous little walking tour and ended up at the Crown Pub. The Crown Pub is absolutely spectacular. It has so much history. It's so gorgeous, beautiful.
Yeah, it really is.
It's also very popular. So downstairs, you almost have to elbow your way in and get a drink.
Yep.
However, they also have a restaurant upstairs. Now, this is an important tip. If you want to eat upstairs, you must make a reservation. But we were so happy we did, and we had a fabulous meal that we so enjoyed. It was the perfect ending to an incredible day. Next, we docked at Greenock, where you can go to Glasgow, Scotland. So, highly recommend you take a shore excursion here. You have two choices here. You could take something that goes to Glasgow, or you could take something that goes into the countryside. You could do tours of various combination of things like Loch Lomond, Falkirk Wheel, Stirling Castle, or various other castles.
So much to choose from. We chose a shore excursion that went to Stirling Castle, and we did Stirling on our own that way, and then it also saw the Falkirk Wheel. I love the Falkirk Wheel. As an engineer, it's a heck of a piece of engineering. What it does is it takes a canal boat, raises it up several hundred feet up in the air so that the canal boat can continue to move on a canal that's on top of a hill instead of down in the valley. So it's a lot of fun to go take all that in.
I loved the Stirling Castle, and here's an important tip, is don't go getting queue up in the line. Instead, just get on your phone, open up the app, buy your tickets. You can scan and walk right in and pass everybody else by. By the way, it is a pretty good walk up the hill. It was no problem for us. With limited mobility, it could be an issue.
Stirling Castle is very much worth a walk up the hill. I thought it's very well preserved. There's a lot of really cool things to see in that castle, and you get a really good feel for middle-aged Scotland that way.
I loved it. Loved Stirling Castle. Our next port is close to Dublin, Ireland. So we actually dock at Laoghaire. Please forgive that pronunciation. And here, this is another place where you could save a lot of money. So for getting into town, the ship could charge you a lot of money, or you could just get off the ship, short walk over, and get on the Dart. The Dart takes you into town in about 45 minutes. So we did that, put together our own little walking tour, and then went on a fabulous excursion.
We booked a tour through Viator. It started at the Jameson distillery right there, so we had the Jameson experience, got to do a little tasting there, and then we walked about a mile and a half, 2 miles, to the Guinness storehouse, and along the way the tour guide pointed out, I think he had something to show on every single street corner, I think, of historical significance. A lot of fun. And then we got to the Guinness, we went the tour through that, and then finally got to do some tastings at Guinness right there on the top. Highly recommend that tour.
Our tour guide was amazing. He was one of these folks who love history, have such a passion, and are so knowledgeable, friendly, great at communicating. It just made the whole day spectacular. Yeah, we were very happy we did this instead of something where we just have spent a little bit of time in the city. Instead, we had just a remarkable day.
Yeah. And we'll have a whole video coming out on Dublin too.
The next planned stop was Isle of Man at the city of Douglas. Now, you can take great tours to see like Viking things here, but what we really think is fantastic here are the trains.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of trains right there. They have a great train preservation society right there on the Isle of Man. And we were going to do the steam train. They had a steam train that would go all the way from Douglas to Port Erin on the other side where they have a museum. There's a stop along the way where you could stop and see a castle as well. Narrow gauge steam railroad. They also have an electrical railroad, and they even have a horse-drawn tram as well if you want to do that. And it's all right there. Douglas is small. You get off the cruise tender port and you can walk to the train station and just get started with all that, or just walk around the city of Douglas as well. Great town to just kind of go explore.
Yes, and this was another one of those cities, unfortunately, that was canceled for us. But this really is a fabulous place, and we'll do another British Isle cruise, and we'll hit it next time.
The next stop we went to was Cork, Ireland, when we actually stopped at a little town called Cobh, right there on the coast. Another Titanic museum is right there, as well as the last stop the Titanic made before crossing the ocean. However, one of the more popular things to see right there is to go to Blarney Castle and kiss the Blarney Stone. There's a lot of excursions to do that, both through the ship and through independent providers.
But we elected to do Exploring Tipperary, and here we got to see more than one castle. This is really, really cool. So we stopped at the Rock of Cashel, and this is an impressive pre-Christian settlement and the royal seat of the kings of Munster from the 4th century AD. We had lunch at a local restaurant, and then we went on to the castle of Laoghaire. Please forgive pronunciation. This castle is very impressive. I really loved the rooms that they had decorated. Yeah. It was just really beautiful.
It is. It's well worth the trip to go out there and check that out, especially if you're into old castles like we are. It's a lot of fun. So after the shore excursion, we got back to the ship, and then we just walked down the waterfront in Cobh right there. It's a real easy walk right into town. It's fun to walk around in. Very charming town. And we had to try a Murphy's right there at the local pub. So for those of you who don't know, there's a little bit of rivalry between Dublin with the Guinness and Cork and Cobh with the Murphy's. We'll let you decide which one you like best. I liked them both about equally.
Our next stop was Dover, England. This is an awesome port.
Yeah.
So you could take a tour and go over and see Canterbury, but what we chose to do is really explore Dover. They have a shuttle that stops at the port, then Dover Castle, then the middle of the city. So we took it over to the castle, walked out, and there was this great big festival going on. We bought our tickets. We walked through so many wonderful places there, lots and lots of walking. And there, it's located there on the White Cliffs of Dover, and we went into those magnificent World War II tunnels. So much World War II history here at Dover.
That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed all that because you hear about the Dover tunnels. And I tell you, for a tall guy, I was a little skeptical to go in tunnels because usually tunnels mean headbanging. But I was okay in there. There was a couple little low spots. They pointed them out to you. Most of the tunnels were okay for a tall guy like me to go through. So I do recommend that. I really liked the castle. The castle was just in great shape right there, going back to the Middle Ages. You could go tour that and see the whole thing. It was a lot of fun. Very well preserved.
Yeah, we just had a magnificent time there.
They have a huge kitchen area down there at the bottom you could kind of go through. I was quite impressed with the medieval kitchen and the logistics with it and all that, and cooking for a lot of people at one time like that.
After the castle, we popped back onto the shuttle bus, went into town, found a little restaurant, had a snack and, a fabulous drink, and enjoyed a beautiful afternoon.
It was a lot of fun. It was great weather for us there, and then went on back to the ship, and it was a good time.
So we are going to be taking a cruise out of Dover in the next few weeks. And after we do that, we're going to release a video that talks way more about this port, as well as how to board from here.
Southampton is a port that we did not go to on this particular cruise, but a lot of British Isles cruise start and end in Southampton. And we have a video about that on how to embark from Southampton. It's very easy to get there from Waterloo Station in London and take some time in London before or after your cruise. So check out that video. We got a link below.
So we promised you we'd talk about preparing for this trip. So we've told you before about what you need to make your reservations early for. But another thing is the packing.
Yep.
So this time of year, if you're headed to Scotland, boy, be prepared that you may have some really chilly days and rain and wind.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of wind.
Lots of wind in Scotland, yes, no doubt about it.
So it's important that you bring some layers and make sure you have something that is rainproof on your outer layer, including something that's covering your head.
For me, it was kind of analogous to packing for an Alaska cruise. You got to be ready for weather to change quickly and be ready for rain, because you're going to get both of those.
Yes, and when we were in Dover, then it was pretty warm, where like a light dress or shorts and a shirt are probably wanting to wear. So make sure that you've covered the appropriate attire for everything. And it might be convenient just to bring a small pair of binoculars, because there's magnificent birds along the way and other wildlife that you may wish to see.
Another thing to be prepared for is that obviously in the UK and England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, they take the pound sterling. Ireland, they take euros. So if you're going to take currency with you, be prepared. You'll need two different types of currency like that, but they all take credit cards.
We also said we were going to cover important information about those ETAs.
This is super important, because if you're not carrying a British passport or an Irish passport, you have to have one of these ETAs. They're easy to get, but if you don't have it, you can't get on the ship. You can't even land in the UK without it. So it's very important to do that. You just go to the website below and click on that. It's going to take you to an app store for the Google Store or the Apple Store. You download the app, you just follow it through the app. It's really easy, it takes 5 minutes to do. The ETA is bound to your passport number, so you don't have to show a separate document or anything on the app when you go in and out of the UK. They'll know you have that ETA by just looking at your passport number.
And don't be surprised if on your cruise, if they collect your passports and give them back to you at another time. So here's the catch. They are good for 2 years. However, if you get a new passport, you have to buy a new one.
Yep.
So that's where you could accidentally forget to buy one when you get a new passport where you just purchased an ETA.
Yep.
So that's a very, very important tip.
Yeah, we both fell in that category of, from the last time we're in the UK to this time, we've both got new passports and we had to go through and renew that ETA.
We hope you've enjoyed this video.
And if you liked the video, please give us a like and subscribe right now so you don't miss any of our British Isles videos that are coming out that'll help you plan your British Isles cruise. We'll have a whole playlist right there so you can find whatever information you need right away.
Until next time, have a cruising good time.